A very warm welcome to this Pluto LMS product overview. It is September 2023 and I'm your presenter, Ian Fourie, the founder of Pluto LMS. So let's dive into the agenda. So in this product overview, I'll cover the navigation of Pluto LMS. So we'll have a look at the user profile, how courses are structured, the navigation menus, etc. Then we'll do a bit of a deeper dive into site administration, where we'll look at user management, course settings, and integrations. We'll go into a course and have a view of the material that you have within a course, the different activity types, what the course looks like. Then we'll go into social learning, how we incorporate gamification, forums, messaging, and announcements. We'll head into reports at two different contexts. We'll have some course reports. We'll look at progress tracking, time spent, and the gradebook. Then we'll have a look at the site reports, where you'll have a view of the 360 overview, our AI suggestions module, some auditing reports that you have access to, as well as our Pluto Insights product. And lastly, we'll look at multi-sites, also known as multi-tenancy, and how it's possible to accommodate and connect multiple independent LMS sites under one management umbrella. This will help you meet your organization's requirement for segmentation and flexibility in the way training is managed and administrated across multiple organizations. Okay, let's start out with the navigation overview of Pluto LMS. So I'm going to head over to a Pluto LMS instance as you see it over here. So first things first, it is site branded as your own. So you can upload your own logo, you can update the domain in which you access the LMS. So something like training.yourcompany.com, for example. You can change the color scheme and you can even add your own classes through custom CSS. So what I'm going to do in this segment of the product overview video is give you a feel for the navigation. So as you can see on the left-hand side, you have access to site administration, calendar, various courses. You can create a course, you can view a dashboard. So the role that I've currently logged into is a site administrator. So this is the highest role within the organization. These are the people that will be able to update your site branding and manage site administration settings. Where you see example trainings, Pluto LMS stories, Learn Pluto LMS, these are just example course categories. And within course categories, as you see these cards over here, these are called courses. So courses are shells that contain activities and the trainings that you upload to the system. So you can completely structure this to best suit your needs in the form of various course categories. You might have company onboarding, you might have compliance training for your employees. You can create various categories to effectively group courses together. On the top right hand side, we've got a search option. This allows you to search for different courses or activities across the site. We've got the notification bell icon over here. This is quite nice because you can set your notification preferences at this point. We've got a messaging tool built into Pluto LMS, a bit more on that later in the video. And then finally, we've got your profile menu, where you can update your profile, view your personal dashboard, view your personal calendar, etc. So in the next section, we're going to dive into site administration. So accessing the Pluto LMS instance, logged in as a site admin, you can click on the left-hand menu over here on Site Admin. This gives you quite a few options with regards to managing your site, everything from site settings to site branding. You can also manage users. So let's talk a little bit about user management. So under user management, you can see that you can view the list of users on your site. You can perform bulk user actions such as sending mass messaging. You can create mass deletions, for example. You can perform bulk user actions with that. We also have custom profile fields. So whether you want to create various information for staff, for example, race, gender, you might want to add department, location, maybe ID number, you can create custom profile fields inside of Pluto LMS. And that's quite useful for when you upload employees to the system, so you can attach the relevant information to them. In terms of getting users onto the system, really simple. You can create them one by one. You can bulk upload via CSV, and you can also connect your existing systems with regards to your people software. You might want to authenticate via Microsoft, you can authenticate via Google, and you can also connect your own people system via single sign-on. That allows them to have one shared authentication between your internal company system as well as Pluto LMS for seamless user management. Once your users are on, you can assign roles to them. The default role across the system is an employee, but there are other roles that you can assign. So for example, if you have a department manager, or you want to assign other site administrators, or if you want to get course editors into the system, you can assign roles to them just to allow for more control over permissioning across your site. Once users are also on, you can create user segments. So this is useful if you have multiple office locations and you want to create different locations, for example, as user segments, so that you can group employees by location. You can also create them for departments or any other methods you may choose. This just allows for a neat collection of users and what we call user segments. This is also helpful from a reporting perspective, which we'll cover later on. Then when it comes to user segment automation, let's say you have a particular location. Let's say you have an office in Cape Town and you want to segment all the users that belong to Cape Town. Now, because you've set up a custom profile field called location, once Cape Town is loaded to the user profile, it will automatically detect where they're from and then group those users together. So user segment automation really helps with just streamlining the processes and eliminating human error. In addition, what's really nice about that is, let's say you have a user segment by department. Let's say you have a sales team. You can automatically enroll that sales team into the various courses that you need them to complete. So user segment automation, really helpful for just performing mass actions and automations around users. We've touched on single sign-on. This is just the authentication that allows your users and employees to get onto the system more seamlessly. Heading back to site admin, we've also got course management. So this is where you can create courses and manage categories. You can also set up learning paths and competencies. Competencies are just a neat way of grouping activities together. So let's say you have 2 different courses with multiple different activities, and some of those activities are relevant to sales training. So let's say within sales training, they need to become competent in video conferencing. You can actually set up competency frameworks, and once your sales team complete those activities, they'll be deemed competent in video conferencing, for example. When it comes to the categories and management of courses on the system, very simple. You can create categories as you see over here, and if you click on those categories, you can see the courses underneath each category. You can move these around, you can rename them, you can create new courses from here. Nothing is set in stone, so the nice thing about this is the material is attached to the course and the course acts independently. So if you want to move your course later on, you're welcome to do so from here. Let's go back to site admin. Would like to cover integrations at a high level overview. So if I click on integrations, you can see the various out-the-box integrations that we do have. What's nice about this is you can connect your video conferencing tools like MS Teams, Zoom, Google Meet, WebEx, and we've got some upcoming integrations as well. For single sign-on, again, that's your authentication with maybe your internal system or some external Active Directory, for example, Microsoft or Google, that allows seamless integration. External sources allow you to collect cloud repositories. So within this, you have Amazon S3, Box, Dropbox, Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive. We've also got SharePoint. What this allows you to do is, let's say you are a Microsoft user organization and you have a lot of your files on Microsoft OneDrive. Instead of downloading them to your local machine, you can actually connect your cloud repository and pull them into Pluto LMS instead of manually downloading and then re-uploading them again. In terms of LTI, that allows you to either share your courses on other learning management systems or bring in courses from other learning management systems. So it's basically a window view into some external learning management system. Of course, that third-party learning management system does need to be LTI compliant. So we are LTI compliant, and that way it allows for the sharing of courses across two different systems. When it comes to Zapier and API, we have integrations through Zapier, which connect you to over 5,000 different applications. So what's really nice about that is you can say when a new user is added to Pluto, create a new Google Sheet row, for example. There's so many different workflows that you can create through Zapier. API is the native way of getting onto Pluto through some third-party tool. So this way, when you connect your API, you can seamlessly integrate with a third-party system. For example, if you're using Workday or maybe some other HR management tool, you can connect API, which says when a new user is added to your HR system, add them to Pluto LMS. And this is all done automatically for you to, one, avoid human error, and then obviously improve efficiencies within the company. We do have some beta AI tools and an integration with Synthesia, so you can embed your Synthesia videos into Pluto LMS. And we also have an AI chatbot, which acts as a support tool for your end users. Let's say one of your employees forgot their password, they can prompt the chatbot, and then the chatbot's going to help them with their password. And then we do have two out-the-box integrations with Salesforce and HubSpot, should you wish to connect those to Pluto LMS. We do have site branding, which allows you to update your domain, add your logo, change the theme of the site. And then site settings, those are things that you can manage policies, you can have notification settings over here. We've got location settings, etc. So this is really the site administration at a high level. So now we are going to cover the course overview of Pluto LMS. So again, accessing the Pluto LMS instance. As we can see, we've got course categories, and then within those course categories, we've got courses. So let's dive into an example course over here. So when we click on a course, we can see that we've got an edit course material button, and then these gray boxes over here which represent modules or topics. These are completely editable by you, and you can also change the way that the course is laid out. So now it's showing the activities on the home page rather than the employee clicking on the module and then seeing the activities. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to turn editing on. So I'm going to click on edit course material. And as you can see, now we're in editing mode. What's nice about this is you can reorder activities, you can add new activities to a particular topic, and if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can add modules as well. So in the sample course, I can show you some out-the-box content. We have a integration with H5P. I am going to just mute this. So if I play this embedded video, what's really nice about the interactive video builder is once you've uploaded a YouTube video or an MP4 file or even a Vimeo video into Pluto, you can have these pop-up boxes as you see over here. So I'm going to click on over 40, motivated, engaging, and check. What's quite nice about this is this actually forces learning. So instead of the learner going through the video and then trying to guess the questions at the end, it actually forces knowledge checks while they're watching the video. So this way they can ensure that they understand each segment of the video. So as we continue watching the video over here, the employee is viewing their training. There can also be additional pop-ups that come later on. So for example, here's another pop-up. And this is talking about our mobile app. So it's saying that learners can easily access the interactive content from anywhere using the Pluto mobile app. And that is true. What's nice about our mobile app, it's available on Google Play as well as the App Store. This allows you to download course content offline. So if you're in a remote area with low internet connectivity, or you simply don't have access to Wi-Fi, you can actually download the course material so that it's offline, and then you can still access your courses without internet connection. And then once the internet connection is back up, you'll be able to sync whatever you did offline with the LMS so that you can see employee progress when they weren't actually online. Check that is true, continue. So that's one really nice tool, is the interactive video builder. If we click on course home, we do have over 40 different types of content that you can add. So if I click on add course content, just covering some of the highlights over here, you can create assignments, so that allows for employees to submit files or do Word submissions, which then can be gradable, for example, by a manager within the department. We do have attendance. So the nice thing about attendance is it generates a QR code. And if you do have in-person training within your organization, let's say you've booked a boardroom and you're not actually doing the training online and you're doing an in-person presentation, Pluto generates the QR code for you, and then employees can scan that as they enter the boardroom so that they can be tracked as attended for that session that you've created. And that also synchronizes with the calendar. You can create certificates on the platform. You can import historical data through the data table. You can set up email automation. So for example, after 3 weeks from when the employee is enrolled, you can send them an email just to set up reminders, etc. The external tool allows you to bring in external content that is LTI compatible. The feedback tool allows you to prompt employees to give you feedback about the course. So it's like a questionnaire or a survey. Files allow you to upload things like PDF, Word documents, etc. And those can be connected to external repositories such as Microsoft OneDrive or Google Drive, etc. Folders, that's just a collection of files. We also have course forums that allows for online communication, more on that later. Then we have Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, as well as Zoom and WebEx. These are video conferencing integrations that allow you to easily set up a video conferencing call. Let's say you want to quickly deploy an MS Teams meeting. You don't need to go into Microsoft Teams, create a meeting, add all the employees that need to attend that meeting, invite them all. Pluto does that all for you, so that once you deploy the meeting, it actually sends out the invite to all the enrolled users within that particular course. And then it also synchronizes with the calendar. So if there is an actual event that has been scheduled, it will show up as a calendar event. In addition, if you're an Outlook organization or a Google Calendar organization, you can integrate those calendars with Pluto and vice versa. So you can pull your personal events into Pluto, and you can also pull Pluto events into your calendar. Going back to course home and back to course content, just to round off, we do have labels as well as pages that you can create on the system. So for example, on a page, you can embed a video and you can write content. For example, if you're creating an SOP, you might want to add that as a page. Then when it comes to quizzes, multiple choice questions, etc., your standard assessments can come through quizzes. We do have SCORM, which I'll show you in a bit. URL allows you to bring in external website content as a link into the course. So just to show you some other sample content over here. So this is an example of a SCORM file. So what's really nice about Pluto LMS is the SCORM embeds into Pluto. So they're not necessarily leaving your learning management system to participate in a SCORM course or a SCORM file, as you see it over here. So they can navigate through the SCORM file. And what's really nice about SCORM and Pluto LMS is we have built-in integrations with regards to the reports that come out of the SCORM file. What grade they achieved for a quiz, what interactions they made, and whether or not they've completed that SCORM package or not. When it comes to files, you can actually neatly embed, for example, PDFs into Pluto LMS. So if you have an existing SOP and you don't want to necessarily recreate it in an e-learning format, you can simply embed that PDF as we see it over here. What's also quite nice is the ability to embed PowerPoints or Google Slides or any sort of slideshow that allows for embedding. So we can actually share this with your employees so they can watch a slideshow all within the LMS environment. Then you can create assignments. As I mentioned, this allows you to take submissions in a file from employees. So this is an example of a assignment. So if I click on View All Submissions, we can see the list of employees over here, who has submitted what grade they've achieved, and you've also got an online editor to grade the PDFs, for example, that they submitted. You can provide them with feedback and a grade on that assignment submission. We also have more interactive tools through H5P. So this is an example of a memory game, and we can see over here that we've now managed to match all of that. There are built-in quizzes. So this quiz has already been attempted. What's really nice about this, if we just hit attempts over here, you can quickly see a report of the employees, what they answered, and if you want to do a deeper dive into their attempt or their submission, if we look at Lisa Smith over here, for example, these are all fictitious. Review attempt, we can see when she started the quiz, when she finished the quiz, how long it took, her points, her grade, as well as each individual question that she answered. You can also automate feedback through quizzes as well. You can also set up web proctoring so that if you need compliance with regards to assessments, the employee will be forced to turn their camera on and it can take snapshots of that particular individual as they're taking the quiz. So what does this quiz look like in terms of taking the quiz? Let's just go back a step over here. So what I'm actually going to do is show you what it looks like taking the quiz. So we can see we've got a question and a video. This is an example of a multiple choice. And this is a true or false question. And lastly, we've got a matching type question over here. So I'm going to choose any random two, and let's see how we do. So I'm going to finish attempt, submit all and finish, as we see it over here. And as we can see, took this really quickly. I achieved 1 out of 3, and I can review what I answered incorrectly and what I answered correctly, for example. Now, when it comes to the various activity types, if we go to course home and we click on the content bank, there are over 40 different types of modules through H5P. So we can slowly scroll through the list. So we've got things like course presentation, branching scenarios, crossword puzzles, drag and drop, essay related question, fill in the blanks, and I'll just slowly scroll through this. We've got things like memory games, questionnaires, single choice set, etc. So there's quite an abundance of interactive tools that you can add to Pluto. What is quite nice about this tool is it doesn't come with additional licenses. So in order to use H5P, so long as you have a Pluto subscription, it's natively integrated with Pluto LMS. Here's an example. For example, in the automotive industry, let's say you need to train the people on the floor as to how the vehicle works. This is actually a 2D image taken in the back seat of this vehicle. So H5P, through the Virtual 360 tool, has actually converted this into a 360. So if we click on the gear icon, for example, it's going to bring up the gear. If we want to click on the AC system, we can even embed a video for that to be watched. So a really fun and interactive tool as we see it over here. So just going out, if I click on the content bank, you can also import these into courses. You can share these across different courses as well. So a really nice way, and lots of different content types on Pluto LMS. Clicking back to the course home, we also have various enrollment methods to get users into courses. So if I click enrollment methods, we can synchronize users from segments. So let's say we want to enroll all the users from Cape Town. This is done automatically for you. So there's a whole range of different enrollment methods. You can have guest access that doesn't require a login. Self-enrollment allows employees to enroll themselves into the course. User segment sync means that employees that are part of user segments will automatically be enrolled in this course depending on your rules that you've set up. Auto enroll, this means that anyone on the site will be enrolled automatically into this course. We've got learning paths, so being enrolled into this course may be based upon the completion of another course. So once course A is completed, they get enrolled into course B. And then publish as LTI tool. This allows you to share your course with an external system or across another Pluto LMS site if you are using multi-sites. Really useful. When we click on enrolled users, we can see that we've got some course groups set up. We've got different roles within this course. We've got the users, as we see over here, when they last accessed the course and whether they're active or suspended. So because Pluto LMS doesn't charge per user, it's quite useful that you don't need to delete users from the system. You can actually just suspend them. So this means that they cannot access the course anymore, but you are going to keep record of their training history. Really useful as well. Just going to site home, just some more examples of courses. We do have a content library. So we do have out-the-box content for you to use. So we've got some soft skill training. As you can see the list over here, improving customer service, managing stress in the workplace. There's some leadership videos over here, health and wellness, etc., time management in the workplace. So what's nice about these, let's say time management in the workplace, this is a video that you can use out the box. It's part of your Pluto LMS subscription. If you do need additional videos, we have partnered with third-party services where you can have access to over 300 different training videos for your organization. Going back to site home, here's another example of employee onboarding. So as we can see over here, we've got multiple pages, modules, etc. I'm going to turn editing off. So if we click over here, message from our CEO, we can see the content that has been provided through a page. If I go to course home, these are multiple different pages as we see it over here. So let's go to this page over here, for example. Let's say you're doing some internal training with regards to your product or service. They can read through this. And going to the next page, we can see a PDF has been embedded. Going to the next page, we can see a video has been embedded. And then finally, you can do a simple knowledge check based on the content that you've just shared. So if we go to course home, you can see that over there. So in this next section, we're going to cover social learning. So let's dive into a Pluto LMS instance. So what I'm going to do is go on to this employee onboarding example. So we have built-in gamification. So if we click on the leaderboard over here, we can see the leaderboard for the employees within this course. What's really nice about this is you can define different levels. So if we go to info over here, you can actually replace these icons with more of your branded company icons as well. We can actually define the levels. So, how many points does it take to achieve certain levels? We can update the visuals as I spoke about. And then there are some quite rigorous setup that you can allow for how employees achieve points. So for example, if they watch a video, give them 50 points. If they complete a quiz, give them 100 points. You can define those rules, but we do have an out-the-box setup for you so that you can get going quickly with the employee leaderboards. What's really nice about this is it does create a little bit of sense of competition. So let's say you're training a sales team. Naturally, they want to compete against one another, and you can set up a leaderboard so that you enable training in that way. You can also issue badges on the system, which allow you to say things like, if the user completes their profile, give them a badge. If they've done a certain action on the LMS, give them a badge. and those badges are then attached to the actual individual profile. So here's an example of 2 badges over here that have been issued to this particular user, and that's quite useful from a gamification perspective to increase that engagement within these courses. So if I go home, you'll now see that you can actually add site announcements, and these will be sent out as a notification to all the users on your site. So you can have a subject line and a message, which allows you to also add images. You can embed videos in here. It's really, really nice. So if we go back to home and we go to this sample course over here, what's really nice is, let's say you are within your course and you're having a look at the progress report, for example, you can actually message these individual users. So if we hit on the message icon over here and you've got them as a contact and we click on this particular user, you can quickly write a message, which is really useful. If we just go back and say see all, it takes you to a dedicated messaging page. So with this, it allows you to centralize communication. You can have employees engage with one another. You can avoid, your email inbox from being bombarded with the same emails, etc. You can allow for messaging on Pluto LMS. And the nice thing about this is it does come through as a notification to the mobile app, and if set up, as well as an email into your inbox if that is what you prefer. So with that, if we hit notifications and we click on the gear icon over here, you can decide what notifications you receive and don't receive, and you can also set up message preferences for yourself as well. If we go to the home and we go into this sample course over here, we can actually also create course forums as well as announcements. So if I just click on course forum over here and I click on this feedback discussion, it allows you to post different Q&A discussions or simple discussion topics, and then employees can reply to you either through a simple message or through an advanced reply where they can, for example, add a GIF, add an image, format their text, and you can also send out attachments through course forums and announcements. So let's say you need to quickly get a PDF to everyone in this course and you need to announce that, you can add this as an attachment as we see it over here. If I go back to site home and I go to site admin, you can also bulk message users. So if we head over to site administration and we click on bulk user actions, let's say we want to select all users in this list, and I'm just going to say add all. We have a couple of options here, but one of them is that you can actually send a message to all of these particular users. Really, really useful. So the employees can engage with one another, they can engage with their line manager, they can communicate through site announcements, through course forums. There's gamification built in, and this really allows for enhanced social learning and engagement within the training environment. So now we're going to speak about site reports, both at a site-wide level as well as a course-specific level, and then we're going to end off with our product called Pluto Insights. So let's dive into the Pluto instance as we see it over here. What I'd like to dive into is the sample course. What's really nice about this is we do have built-in course reports. So on the top right-hand side, we can click on the View Progress Report. What's really nice about this is, let's say you have a manager of the sales team and that sales team manager logs in. It will automatically filter to their team if you've set up the course group for that. So as we can see, what learners have completed, what learners have not completed, as well as their progress through the course. This is also exportable to CSV or Excel format, and we also have a reporting API which allows you to pull reports into tools like Power BI, for example, or Tableau. That can also be set up with Pluto LMS. So if we go back to the course home and we scroll down to view time spent, you can also see how long individual learners have spent within your course. You can define the start date, end date, and also importantly, it is a smart tracker. So let's say an employee logs in and gets up and goes for lunch, it's not going to count that time. It's only going to count when the employee is actually engaging with the platform as we see it over here. Again, this is exportable for you as well. Do you want to have a quick look at the gradebook? So this actually pulls in all assessments that you have within your course. And what's quite nice about this is you get grades out of it. So let's say an employee completes a quiz and they get 100%, it will be shown here. You can also filter by course groups. Let's say you've set up different departments, that can be filtered as well. You can also set up weightings. So if one quiz is more important than the other, you can say that this quiz is worth 10% of the course mark and the other quiz is worth 90% of the course mark, for example. Then that accumulates to a course total. So you can actually track the grades across your employees within this course. I'm going to go to Site Home now. So we've had a quick view of some of the out-the-box course reports. So if I hit Site Admin and I head over to Site Reports, the first report I do want to show is the 360 overview. So if I hit the 360 overview, we can actually set ranges here. So I want to have a look at what's happened in the last year. So you can see everything from active users in your site, course enrollments, course completion rates, and for example, here's a course progress report. And if we go more, you can actually drill down into what's going on across the site. If you've set up user segments and you want to search by user segment or filter by user segment, we can do that, and then it narrows down the information based on the segments that you've set up. Let's say we want to see, who is this learner that completed it. We click on it and then we can see exactly who that is. All of these are exportable. So you can export this to PDF, CSV, Excel, and you can also schedule an email. Maybe you want to receive this report once a week. You can schedule that email so that it's delivered to your inbox. When I hit back, we do have a few other reports. I'm just going to set it to the last year. And if I scroll down, you can see things like popular courses, which have the most enrollments, most visits, most completions, etc. If you are issuing certificates, you can see the certificate stats as well. Real-time users, obviously I am admin Alex and I've logged in right now, so we can see that I'm active. Site access information, you can see when your site is most popular. Maybe that's 10 a.m. on a Thursday morning. That's what it shows you. This is sometimes helpful if you just want to schedule a video conferencing call within the organization. You can see what time the site is most active to make that easier. And then we do have some other reports such as daily activities and an inactive user list report. So I can see which employees haven't actually logged in the last month, for example. Just going back to the site reports, that was a basic overview of the 360 overview. You can create custom reports through SQL queries. You can get time spent at a site-wide level, which is also useful. So it brings in all the time spent across all courses. You do have an auditing section, which is quite useful for tracking every single interaction that is on Pluto. So if we view site logs over here, you can set up some filters. I'm not going to, I'm just going to say get logs. And as we can see, quite a comprehensive list of every single action that admin Alex has taken as I've been going through this product overview. It is tracking every single interaction. That's useful if, let's say, a team member accidentally unenrolls an employee or accidentally, deletes an activity, for example. You can actually go in and see, how that occurred, which helps you obviously mitigate any errors in the future. So going back, we do have a spam cleaner so that you can search through the site for any, swear words across the platform, for example. You can choose what you're searching for. Event monitoring allows you to subscribe to certain events. So, for example, when a course is completed, you can be notified. When a user is added, you can be notified. That's quite useful. Then we do have our machine learning component over here. You can create models and get insights out of those models. So if you are going to run certain tests and you want to see what insights come out of it, you can build that. We do have a completion overview report as well, so you can see completion at a site-wide level. And where we differentiate is our AI suggestions. So if I hit AI suggestions, what this does is it gives me a list of employees that are at risk of not completing their courses. So based on hundreds of thousands of users that have actually gone through our system, we've identified certain risk factors, such as low grades, not logging in, having too many activities outstanding. And this report gives you an assessment of low, medium, and high risk employees that actually need intervention, otherwise, they're at risk of not completing their training. It gives you a suggestion, and then it also gives you an action item, such as messaging this individual. And if you don't want to message each individual and you want to send a bulk message, you can also do that from here. So going back to site admin, going to site reports. If these out-the-box reports are not adequate for your business, we do have a custom report builder. And this is what we call Pluto Insights. So here's a view of Pluto Insights. You can think of it like Power BI or Tableau, but for your LMS data. So this allows you to have certain metrics. So for example, you might want to do a completion status count. You can do that over here. You can do a max, min, sum, distinct count, average, etc. You can define the columns that you wish to track and then set up metrics for that. You can also define the series as we see it over here. You can apply filters to this. Maybe you want to filter by a specific office location, for example. You can do that. If you want to change the color scheme of the chart, you've also got these options over here. You can rename the x-axis and the y-axis. So really nice, and you can change the name of this chart, and you can get quick insights into what's happening on your LMS system by building custom charts and custom reports. Bar charts is not the only option we have. If we click on charts, we can add a new chart as we see over here. And what this allows you to do is choose from various different types of charts. So we've got big number, table, pivot table, and then we've got a number of time series charts that you can add. What's useful about time series is, let's say you're tracking completions over time, you can actually set up predictive analytics and forecasting with confidence ranges within Pluto Insights. For that, we've got line charts, area charts, bar charts, and scatter plots. We've got pie charts and bar charts, really, really useful. So now that you've put a few charts together and you've consolidated information, where do you put this? Well, we can create a dashboard. So I'm just going to show you a sample dashboard as we see it over here. This allows you to combine multiple charts in one place. If you need to share this with a stakeholder and you want to combine reports for that stakeholder, this is where you can do it. So we've got multiple charts. If we click edit over here, any charts we haven't added, we can obviously drag and drop this in. We can remove, we can resize, really useful. So this allows you to build dashboards depending on your preferences. So that was a high-level overview of the Pluto LMS reporting. Just remember, all of this is exportable in the form of Excel, and we can actually connect API calls to this to extract information from your LMS. So in this next section, we are going to cover multi-sites. Now, multi-sites is another name for multi-tenancy. It effectively allows you to have multiple LMS systems depending on your particular requirements. So in this example, we might have a holding company, and the holding company might have two subsidiaries, company A and company B. With multi-sites, we could have company A on their own LMS instance. What's useful is company A will have their own landing page, their own URL, their own domain, their own user authentication system, their own set of courses. It acts as a completely independent site. Then company B will have the same thing. Now, that doesn't mean courses can't be shared amongst company A and company B. We have LTI that allows you to share courses. So you might want to have a primary LMS, let's call that the holding company LMS, and you've got some training that, every employee across all the subsidiaries need to do. For example, privacy training, or cybersecurity training, you can share those courses across the different Pluto LMS sites. Now, why this is useful, you can use tools like Pluto Insights to report across different sites for each company, because they've got separate user lists, separate completions, which makes it really tidy for the stakeholders of the holding company to see what's happening across organizations. Now, within the LMS, as per this product overview, you can set up user segments. Maybe you want to set up locations. So let's say you have offices in Cape Town, you have offices in Joburg, you have offices in New York, you have offices in London. You might want to use user segments so that you can group those users together and report separately on them within the same LMS. Beneath that, you might have departments. So you can have a sales department in Cape Town and a sales department in London. You can use course groups or user segments to further split those users for reporting purposes. And then finally, you might have different teams. You might have your outbound sales team or your inbound sales team. You can use things like course groups and set up team leaders or perhaps managers of departments or managers of those teams within those course groups. So multi-sites allows you to have multiple different Pluto LMS instances where you can share courses across those instances while having a very unique user experience across those sites. Thank you so much for listening to this product overview. If you want to find out how to contact us, head over to our website at plutolms.com, where you can book a call with us or simply make contact. We'd love to hear from you.